Hey guys, so today in this video I'm going to be talking about why you guys should care about the framework for balance versus change. So first off, the framework for balance versus change is just that. It's just how balance and change relate to each other, and it has a couple other parts to the framework. So the other parts are the mental and the physical, and so those two are all about they're all about how we and other things interact with the balance and the change, how we like affect them. Now, freedom and justice are the other two besides balance, and freedom is what I is another word I use for the change, and so um, because basically the freedom is just action, movement, change, and so that is influencing the balance of things. And the justice is the equalizer. It's the equalizer for the change, and it's what essentially is actually what it is basically you have a limitation of the justice of the rules of the requirements and consequences, basically the rules. Requirements and consequences come from the rules of the universe, but essentially you have a limitation of the rules, and because of that you're able to have freedom. And from there you have what happened is because of the freedom you're able to have a change in the balance in the state of things. And balance I mostly use as the state of things, but I also refer to it as just balance. So those are the 5 parts of the framework. I like to keep it down to 5. That's why some of the parts of the framework I use multiple like definitions or more unique definitions for them. Like the mental and the physical you can add on any adjective you want after. So you could say like mental and physical capability, mental and physical flexibility, diversity, strength, mental and physical strength, mental and physical like wisdom, or um, yeah, like intuition, etc., etc. Um, and so, why should you care? Well, the first off, mental and physical aspects are how you relate to creating the balance and the change. As for why you should care about the balance and the change, well, the balance is what keeps you alive. If your body is imbalanced, then you die. Same goes for your ecosystem, your environment. And as for change, you should care about that because you want to like improve your environment, and you also want the change to go right. If the change goes wrong, you also again die. So there's that. Same goes for extinction. So just in general, our species and other species, they will go extinct if the change isn't right or if the balance isn't right. Also, balance and change are basically, at least uh, so as I'm thinking right now, would be the two general states of the universe. Either the way I see it is you have balance, and that's the state of things, right? And so that state of things is just a stack of papers throughout time, and it's just like the space between it, right, is the change. And it's just you have a bunch of those stacks of papers, and you just have a bunch of those. The transition between each of them is where you have the change. And so that's basically just the whole uh, universe, how it works. It's just you have states of things that are changing throughout time, and they're changing because of the change, and the change is that transition between the states. And so those are basically the two modes of the universe, and the justice is related to those rules. And those rules are how you get requirements and consequences. Again, requirements and consequences kind of work the same way. It's like a piece of paper, and now you're talking about the sides. So you have the requirement on the first side, and the consequences on the later side. And so it's just that paper just being repeated again and again, and you have the requirements and the consequences doing their little things. And then those things come from, those requirements and consequences come from the rules from justice. Now, again, why is this important? Well, you should care about freedom versus justice because that relates to a lot of the inequalities in our society. It also relates to a lot of problems where you have too much desire for change and not enough desire for balance, for caring for each other, and for like ethics. So I would say justice I also use sometimes to refer to like the ethics in the framework. So you also want to care about that. And you want to balance the two. So freedom versus justice compete with each other. Same goes for balance versus change. Same goes for mental and physical, because you can't maximize both of those. Same goes for freedom versus justice. You can't maximize both of them. And same goes for balance versus change. Either you have a rate of change that's crazy fast, and then what you basically have is you have technically more states of balance, but they're I mean, technically it wouldn't really, I don't know. I mean, I guess. Yeah, actually that is true. Technically it would be, I mean, it would be, so, that is true because it's a transition. Yeah, technically actually balance and change don't really compete. Either you have slower change and you just have fewer, they're actually related, so they're interrelated. Sorry, they're connected. So if you have very fast rate of change, then you have many more states of things over time. And if you have very slow change, then you have fewer states of things over time. And it doesn't really affect the balance because the balance is related to the rules, not to the freedom, right? So because balance is related to the rules, not the freedom, then it's not going to be affected. Now, if the rules changed, like if the rules didn't care about balance, then that would be a different story. But maybe, I don't know. If you want, you could also look at that aspect and be like, are there any other rules, right? Trying to understand the rules of the universe. That's basically what science is all about. So that's another interesting aspect that you should be like interested in, like maybe want to care about. Yeah, so I think at least for me personally, I think all the aspects of the framework are super interesting. Again, the mental and the physical is how you create the balance, well, not create, but bring about change, and how you maintain that balance. And also, by the way, change shows that you don't have creation. It's just right. It's you don't have creation or destruction of energy, only movement of energy, and so it's just moving energy around. That's what change is. So yeah, and again, the freedom versus justice is related to rules and the absence of rules. So that's related to hard justice. Hard justice is from the universe. And you also have softer justice, which is a thing society creates. So that's another thing might be interested in, how society creates soft justice, which is not as absolute as the universe's hard justice. And then you have balance, which is super interesting because you're always trying to tinker with the balance. You're trying to tinker with the state of things and test it out and try to learn from it and then change it and adjust, and you're just trying to get all the different variables right, etc. So it's really interesting stuff. I hope I was able to get you to be interested and curious and passionate about this framework and the ideas behind it and what you can learn. Just kind of using it and just getting stimulated by the ideas. So anyway, hope you liked the video. I make a lot more videos like this, so if you're interested, you could check those out. And I'll see you in the next video. See you guys.